Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. We are doing a trailer reaction to the new Batman trailer, trailer 3. I'm with cousin Cheeto. How you doing, mate?
Good. Just closing my door.
And also Detective Gary, Gary the Detective, also known as Bossman. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right.
So
Wonderful.
before you continue, I
Sorry.
find it funny though that he made Gary Detective, yet Gary Oldman was Commissioner Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm just saying, there's a connection there.
Oh,
Okay.
amazing. All right. Let's get this trailer going and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Bruce Wayne,
Sorry.
I wouldn't be bothering you here, but your people keep telling me you're unavailable. You know, you really could be doing more for this city. Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
Dude.
The Riddler is asking for you.
The killer left this for the Batman. Why is he writing to you?
You came. I've been trying to reach you.
Riddler's latest. It's all about the Waynes. If we don't stand up, no one will.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays. The bat and the cat. It's got a nice ring.
You a new friend of yours?
I'm not so sure. I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city. You're part of this too. Stay still! How am I part of this? Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. Bruce Wayne. All these years, you lied to me, Alfred. We all have our scars, Bruce.
You're still away.
He's involved in this? No, he's not involved.
How do you know? He's a vigilante.
Who are you under there? What are you hiding?
Selena, don't throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
It can be cruel, poetic, or blind. But when it's denied, it's through violence you may find.
Justice. The answer's justice.
Come on, vengeance. Let's get into some trouble.
Not long now, boys and girls. You don't want to hear Grace. Anyways, you want to do a quick recap on that, or you want to talk about it?
Let's just talk about it.
Alrighty then, let's just stop this. Okay. What do you think of that trailer, Cheeto?
I'm going to defer down to Bossman because he looked like he was ready to go at the end of it. So you go ahead, Bossman.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure if this is a good idea. I mean, because Batman is one of the few DC properties that doesn't need a what's the word, like a makeover. You know, there's like, you know, as I said, Superman, Green Lantern, that I would say need more of a makeover because, you know, the Batman franchise is in a healthy place. You know, even if you don't particularly like certain aspects of it, you know, they've all been profitable, they've all been well received by, you know, people. So I think like Green Lantern and stuff like that. But saying that though, I am interested in this take because it looks like a little bit more gritty. In that, like the Batmobile looks a bit more like a street car than like, you know, the Christopher Nolan's tank or the one that Ben Affleck had. I'm not sure if I like the design of the Riddler, and I will say that because again, I saw a still of it, and I think it's one that our friend Vance put up. And I said then what I say now, which is that it doesn't look like the Riddler. It looks like BDSM man or World War II cosplayer man than he does the Riddler.
He kind of looks like Hush, in my opinion, a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
Well, just with the green thing, it looks like he's in a gas mask and stuff. Again, I'm interested to see what they're going for. They're going for a Children of Gotham. For those of you who haven't played the Telltale Batman games, where it gets revealed that Batman's parents were actually had a figure in the underworld. So is it could be that I mean. I wonder if they go that route. So I'm hoping that they go more into the detective route in this. That the actions, like as I said, is a side thing to the more detective era because that's the only Batman we've not really seen on screen. But that's my personal feeling. It looks like that's where they're going personally.
I was
Okay.
if you don't mind me going next, I was getting vibe. Have you guys seen the movie Seven?
What?
With
I don't
Brad
think
Pitt
so.
and
Is that
Morgan
the-
Freeman
Oh,
I
Seven.
don't think
and
so.
and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I've seen Seven. Yeah.
It's basically about this guy who tried to create his masterpiece of murders by killing people in the style of the seven deadly sins, or what they or the people who he killed who that represented the seven deadly sins. And I was getting some vibes on that. Like it was a dark, seedy, rainy city, like Seven was as well. Very glum, very gloomy. A serial killer who seems to be one step ahead of everybody. All of these sort of aspects to it, and even by the end of Seven or like the third act, the beginning of the third act, Kevin Spacey's character gave himself up because that was part of his plan. And I saw a little bit of that in this trailer as well. It looked like the Riddler was captured, but he looked like he wanted to be captured. And we've seen that before in Batman films where the enemy wanted to be captured. So that's not original in that particular aspect. Bruce Wayne, I hope eventually we get the Bruce Wayne that we're familiar with. Obviously, we're not talking about the Bruce Wayne who's secretly Batman as a persona, but the Bruce Wayne who to everybody else is the playboy billionaire, because I like that version of Bruce Wayne a lot. And maybe he's growing into that part a little bit. Hopefully he'll grow into that old Robert Pattinson. I've always found the Batmobile to be very different to who Batman is. Batman is a stealthy, silent, works in the shadows type of guy, and the Batmobile is totally opposite to that. It's loud, it's big, it's noisy. I just always found that a bit weird, and I don't mind the fact that they're using an American muscle car. I think that's pretty original. That's pretty different. I like that, but it's very hard to know what's going to come out of this. I just hope it's a good film. And the day, I don't want to see any more trailers now. I'm done. Wait for the movie. Cheeto?
Yeah, I mean, Riddler is my absolute favorite Batman villain of all time. So I'm very interested to see where they go with the Riddler in this one. I kind of do like the aesthetic. I do, like Bossman said, I do hope they kind of go down like the detective route where it's more of a detective mystery rather than just a big extravagant stuff, which I mean, we're going to have those things. We're going to have those things in any Batman film. The big, and it looks like that the fight sequences are going to be a little bit more brutal in this one from what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I really feel like they're going to key up the brutality, like at Arkham level, like Arkham game level of brutality in the fights. He's not going to kill him, but he's going to put him in the hospital for a while. But yeah, so I really am interested to see where they go with this. I agree with you, Zam, that if he's letting himself get captured or whatever, that's kind of a trope that's been done many times before. I mean, I'm thinking that person is not the Riddler. It's just someone they're led to believe is the Riddler, and it's not actually him. That's why he's wearing a mask, because we're not supposed to know who it actually is. I mean, we obviously know it's Edward Nygma, but maybe they're gonna. I hope they don't do a bait and switch and make it somebody else. One of the worst things about the Gotham by Gaslight movie was the fact that they made the Jack the Ripper was Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, and I hated that. Like, I really hated it. It was surprising, but I hated it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like the Riddler doesn't turn out to be like Commissioner Gordon or something like that, which I don't think it will. Ish, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I do agree with Bossman about the Telltale games. I love those Batman Telltale games. I'm so sad that they only made two. But I like the fact, that they revealed that, that the Waynes weren't, they were a part of the criminal underworld. They weren't, and it gave Batman something to strive for, to be better than. So I really like that aspect. I wouldn't mind if there was maybe like a Court of Owls kind of influence in this, which I don't know if they've revealed that or not, or if they've talked about it, but I would love for there to be like a Court of Owls undertone to this whole thing.
Yeah, something that
Um,
seeds. That's something that seeds potential sequels, because a film like this, I mean, when you make a Batman movie, you're banking on it being popular,
mhm.
and so I feel that they will probably sow the seeds for sequels. That's for sure.
And also,
Yeah.
I just don't know if this is going to be a bit too, other stuff with villains, because we've got Catwoman, we've got Penguin, and we've got the Riddler. Is that too many? Because the thing
Well,
is,
here's the thing. I think they've mastered, I think in recent cinema, superhero cinema, they've mastered the ability to have villains in a like numerous villains in a movie, but not like having like not making them feel like overcrowded. Like we have this basis back in the 90s and even the early 2000s where we're like we have to have a movie that is focused on this villain or these two villains, and we got to have an origin story and everything like that. And I feel like we've kind of gotten away from that, where we're like, okay, we know who the Penguin is. We don't need an like we don't he can show up in this movie and we know who he is. We don't
Yeah,
need the all, so he can be in and out of the movie. Catwoman, we know who Catwoman is. She can be in and out of the movie. I mean, we can see the seeds of their relationship starting, but I really feel like we're kind of past that point where it's like, okay, the Green Goblin's in this one, Doc Ock is in this one, and if any other villains show up, oh, it's a misuse of the character. Like I think we're kind of past that point, unless it's like a character we have no idea about, and so
yeah.
and the Riddler's honestly the same way. I mean, we kind of know everything about the Riddler, so it just depends on how they're going to bait and switch us in this, which I'm hoping they don't. But
I agree with you, Cheeto. Like I think in this universe, certain villains have already been around. Like we're not going to get origin stories for these guys. That they've been there, they've done it. This is Batman, I think year two, so he's
mhm.
still relatively green, and the police are not there to trust him. But someone like Penguin, he's a total different sort of character to someone like Riddler. Riddler will probably have his origin or probably be introduced as somebody to Batman in this movie, whilst he's been probably dealing with Penguin from day one. And we just only we come to realize that whilst watching this movie. I even believe we saw like people dressed up or looking like the Joker,
Yeah.
like loads of regular
Hmm.
people. So I think even the Joker, or maybe somebody he did fight in the past, maybe he's in jail or something. And so I think there's like, yeah, instead of like giving these people origins and then introducing them for the first time, they're already in this world, and I like that. That's a lot better
Yeah.
way of doing it. Yeah. So
Okay.
all right. So
uh,
you go back. Sorry.
like, what are you guys hoping for with this? So for me, I'm hoping that it's a good detective story, and then I'm hoping that the Riddler, the Riddler character is a good, what's the word,
Portrayal.
set up for him to be that, because Riddler's all about like rhymes, poems, puzzles, that sort of thing. And I think if they go that route, then again, that this will be the most I think the most detective version of Batman that we've seen on screen, personally.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: is that the Riddler has always been more geared towards the Riddler has always been more geared towards Batman's detective side, whereas the Joker has always been more geared towards Batman's like combat and physicality side. Because you can't rhyme or you can't. There's not a mystery with the Joker. You just beat the crap out of his goons. He gets to the Joker. He takes care of whatever little test or whatever little choice he's got for him, and it's done. With the Riddler, it's like, okay, we've got a puzzle. We've got to figure it out. We got to figure out where he's hitting next. We got to beat him to it, and we got to beat the bad guy. So it's like it's definitely, with Riddler being the main villain, it's definitely a tonal shift from even the Dark Knight movies. I mean, the only one that you could really say that was a little bit like that was Batman Begins. With the Nolan movies, it's like Batman, the Dark Knight was him just chasing down the Joker, trying to, solve all the chaotic conundrums that the Joker was throwing at him, beating the crap out of people, and then beating the Joker, which wasn't that hard. And even in Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, it's like Bane. Like he just had to conquer himself and beat Bane, and who's also another physical. And I get it. Bane's supposed to be a smart fighter, but he's also just a physical block. This is going to be more geared towards the detective side of Batman, where he has to figure out things from square one, because the Riddler always feels he is intellectually superior to everyone, including Batman. But Batman is the greatest threat to his intellectuality. So I really feel like that's why that this movie is going to lean really hard into that. And I'm really excited for that, because we haven't had that. Like, as I said, Batman Begins is the only one that has that kind of mystery aspect. But at the same time, we all kind of knew what was going to happen.
I wanted to be regarding the detective side of it, boss man. I wanted to be more like Columbo in that sense, that we already know how it happens, because look, Paul Dano is the Riddler. There's no surprise on that. Finding out who he is and stuff like that. We see this guy committing the crimes, but we want to see how Batman solves it. We know that these things are happening, but we want to see what Batman does in how he uses that magnificent brain of his to solve these crimes, because that for me is going to be the most interesting part, in my opinion. And he's a young man as well, so like him having to use his gray matter is something he probably thought he never would have to use too much. I mean, he's always been a smart guy, but this level of intelligence requires a different way of thinking. So it's going to be interesting to see how he pulls that off, and I very much look forward to it. And regarding him and Catwoman and stuff like that, I mean, whatever, to see how that goes as well. So I'm not too fussed about that, to tell you the truth.
I mean, I'm not either. Catwoman's probably the thing that I'm interested to see how Colin Farrell's Penguin is.
Penguin, yeah.
And I want to see
John Turturro's Carmen Falcone.
Yeah, I'm interested to see those. Catwoman is kind of like, whatever. I mean,
Andy Serkis is like Alfred Pennyworth.
Oh yeah, and Andy Serkis is Alfred Pennyworth. I think is going to be good. I'm really excited for that one.
Jeffrey Wright is James Gordon.
Well,
yeah, that's another. There's a lot of good things going for this movie, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
The thing is that I could see that there's going to be those idiots who use the word woke. I could see them using it in this, unfortunately.
Well, there is there are a couple of black people in this, and so
that's what I mean. Because Catwoman is a black woman, and you say Jeffrey Wright is going. They say, "Oh, those are white characters." No, they don't have to.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I kind of got over that with the whole Kingpin, Michael Clark Duncan. Like when I was that way, when I was like when Michael Clark Duncan was cast as Kingpin, I'm like, what? He's supposed to be a big white dude. And then like when I saw Michael Clark Duncan and I loved him as Kingpin, I kind of got over it. So people just need to get over it. They really just do. I mean, it was back in 2000. That was back in 2003.
To check themselves, man.
Yeah,
these people really need to check themselves. Their insecurity is laughable. So if they want to go down that route, then they're the ones with the issue. They're the ones with the problem, and they need to check themselves
before they wreck themselves. Yo.
Yeah, exactly. All right, then, fellas. I think we pretty much said what we can about this particular trailer. March 22nd, roll on. Until then, let us know what you think, everyone, with comments below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, Nerd Nation. We're on Twitch, Facebook, as well as YouTube. And we have a Discord as well. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. We'll see you guys later. Take care and bye-bye.